That's great to hear.
First response is around here. There's one here.
What? Yeah.
All right, James. James, go ahead.
Hello, man.
I'd like to welcome everyone to our meeting this March 11th, 2019. If everyone would stand, we'll have invitation. Father in heaven, once again we approach your mighty throne of grace. Praise you and thank you. We thank you, Lord, for your grace and your mercy. We thank you for our town, all the people here in this town. We ask, Lord, today that you watch over them, watch over our county, and of course our nation, Lord. We ask that you be with all of our service people who are in harm's way today. These things we pray in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. John, if you lead us in the pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Pam, we'll go ahead and do the roll call.
Okay. Alderman Sanders.
Here.
Alderman Burton. Alderman Byington.
Here.
Mayor Graham.
Here.
Vice Mayor Jernigan.
Here.
Alderman Summers.
Here.
Alderman Bass.
Here.
We've got a lot of things to cover tonight, but we'll continue with our agenda for just a moment, and then we'll skip part of our agenda and get to some of the issues that everyone wants to, I'm sure, talk about. We need to approve our minutes.
I make motion to approve, Red.
Second by Ples. Everybody in favor, great, say aye. Board members review of financial documents. I reviewed financial documents. Did anyone?
I did a few.
Okay.
Make motion, approve, present.
Okay. We've got a motion and a second on the minutes. Everybody agrees for approving the minutes, do so by saying aye. Okay, we've got plenty of visitors here today, and I'd like to welcome everybody. We've we've got some serious things to talk about, and, we'll get into, we've got some unfinished business and some new business, and we'll get into that after we discuss, the issue with our, EMS service. And, we don't want to be a problem to the county in any way. We want to, we'd like to see something worked out with the county, in a, you know, in a reasonable way. The information that was in the newspaper, we do not agree totally with. And, as I have read this, I would like to read one thing from the article in the paper, and before I do that, let me say this. All the members of Hawkins County EMS are to be commended. All of them that have worked are still are to be commended. They've done a fine job, and I don't want anything that we say here tonight to reflect badly on them, because they have done a wonderful job. And they have been in my home on several occasions, answering calls, and they're totally professional, and I appreciate them. And so I wanted to say that before I got into the situation. And of course, as everybody knows, our ambulance service has been moved from Surgoinsville. It's no longer here. I don't know really what the plans are for the county, but in the article in the Kingsport Times. And Jeff, I commend you. Your article was great. You printed what information you were giving, and I don't want you to think I'm saying anything, because you did a good job. And I'm glad you did, for a lot of reasons. And yeah. And there's also another issue, a big issue, that we will talk about tonight, that's really, it's hooked to the situation about the EMS service. And I've asked Darrell Brady, who was here with Congressman Rowe's office, to talk to you and explain some things about that situation, which I will get to in a few minutes. In the article, it says the Board of Directors noted that over a 6-month period, the Surgoinsville zone had an average of 283 calls, or less than 2 calls per day, for the 37873 zip code. If you would, please hang on to that statement. And here's another one I want you to hang on to. It takes approximately 4 calls per day to adequately cover the expense of a 24-hour truck. Now, the 37873 zip code don't even cover the town of Surgoinsville. We have well over 200 residents that have a Rogersville zip code, which we have tried for years to change to a Surgoinsville zip code. It's created a lot of problems, and we'll discuss that further in a few minutes. But when you consider all the areas that this ambulance served, it wasn't just the city limits of Surgoinsville, it was all the valleys. It was Carter's Valley, Stanley Valley, Caney Valley, all the area down Williams Road, down 11W, Surgoinsville Market, across the river. You've got War Valley. Almost as soon as you leave the bridge, you're into a Rogersville zip code over there. And the service that was here covered all of that area, all of it. And I don't want to use the word sneaky, but I don't like the way the rescue squad, the EMS, left Surgoinsville. I don't like it. We weren't notified. And in my heart, I really believe if Eddie hadn't come and told me that no one was out here at the rescue squad, they would still be calling people from Rogersville and Churchill to cover Surgoinsville calls. but nothing ever been said to us, and I honestly believe that. So,
Merle,
yeah,
okay, we give them the building out there.
we
We furnish the lights, the heat, they don't pay no rent, they're there free. But still, they say they takes 4 calls per day, but they're not paying nothing at, and the other places, they pay. Now, they put up here at Churchill or Dallas Kilby, they stay there, but they pay the utilities. So we're giving everything free, and then they're trying to say they gotta have 4 calls per day, but just that zip code.
absolutely.
I mean,
This is separate of the county too. You got Rockford here, Churchill here, we're right in the center. Why wouldn't they keep this one and do it with the one that goes chapel up there? They got 2 at Churchill,
No, that's the only one in Churchill.
and you got one in downtown
No,
Churchill?
that's the only one.
Okay. I'm sorry.
But anyway,
They got one in Metacoma,
yes, that is.
they got one in Metacoma.
Considering all this area, that this service covers, if you would give us, on this statistic, if you would give us the calls, if we would get credit for them in Carter's Valley over this way, that statistic of less than 2 calls per day would go up probably to 5. There's a lot of calls. I live on Longs Bend. I see this MS go over there. It seems like just every other night they're going, and I know they're going to War Valley or Webster Valley, somewhere Longs Bend, somewhere over in there, because they're out of the town, out of the city limits in just a few seconds. They're in the Rogersville zip code. And we feel like it's unfair for them to base their decision on this zip code. The zip code is blamed, apparently the way this sounds,
they're blaming it on the zip code.
on the zip code for leaving here. And again, we've got a good part of our town down on Williams Road, down past the airport. You get to our airport, you're in a Rogersville zip code. You're in a Rogersville zip code.
Zines Hill, Stewart Landings, Regency Park is all.
Yep, it sure is, all of it.
Well, I seen a man laying on the ground up here, and we had them call the EMS. Instead of sending Surgoinsville up here 2 miles at Lone Oak Church, they called Rogersville. We waited 30 minutes on Rogersville to get there. Of course, Surgoinsville got there in 10 minutes. I think a lot of it was done where they called Rogersville instead of calling Surgoinsville.
But anyway, I would like to call back the time when Churchill EMS folded up. And we had a meeting here, and the county life support was trying to come into Hawkins County. And I think probably the entire county wanted Hawkins County EMS. We had a meeting here, we voted, and we said no thank you to lifeguard. Said no thank you. And now, we could probably have been having service right now here if we had said to lifeguard, come on in. But now look what's happened to us. So, and I understand all the financial information that was given out. And I read that it's a financial thing in one paragraph, and then another paragraph I read that the EMS is sound. So I don't know which it is, but I do know that for the people of Surgoinsville and their area, not just our town, our city limits. And again, I have told numerous people that if you just go and look around, completely encircled, the town of Surgoinsville is a huge number of people. There's subdivisions going up all around us, and a huge population, Carter's Valley, Stanley Valley. That's the call for this EMS that was here, and it's been taken away. The cause, apparently, of this 37873 zip code. And we're urging anybody with the county, any citizens, to just explain the situation we're here, and what we want is the service back. We we won't settle for anything less. I was asked by an official with EMS what they could do for us, and I said, you can put the EMS service back here in town, and that's what we demand. And the other situation that, and if anybody has any comments about this,
We
you're
got some
welcome.
commissioners back there of our district, they have anything to say to it. About it.
But
Speak up.
if anybody has anything to say about this, we're gonna continue on about this. I just wanna bring up, one other thing. We have tried, I was elected alderman in 2006. At that time, we started, which was started, I think, before me, but they renewed the effort to try to get the zip code in Stewart Landing, Pilot Circle, and Regency changed to Surgoinsville zip code. And Tim Hoss and I talked to the postmaster here in Surgoinsville. Whatever we did was fine with him. The postmaster in Rogersville said no. I'd have to do a lot of changing around. The lady that has that route, we'd have to find another route for her to do, and I'm not doing it. And they didn't do it. Since then, we've tried everything. And about 3, maybe 4 years ago, we went to Congressman Rowe. And asked Congressman Rowe, and he said, absolutely, I'll help. He talked with postal officials, and they said no. And that was one reason I wanted Darrell to come in today, because Darrell knows, and I'll let Darrell speak this second, that they have done everything they can. But it's different now from what I just told you. Surgoinsville lost its EMS service because of that zip code. That's what we're looking at, the seriousness of this.
It's the safety of Surgoinsville citizens.
Absolutely.
Science Hill Road out here, one side of it's Rogersville, the other side's at Surgoinsville. You're running 2 mail carriers on the same route.
Same thing on Williams Road.
Oh, yeah.
Darrell, if you make comments about y'all's efforts and
Sure.
This lady right here, Congressman, she's going to speak first.
You want to speak first? Go ahead and stand up.
Go ahead.
well, absolutely.
I just wanted to say that I'm a commissioner for your district, and I live in the no zone. I live on Curtis Valley Loop, and it's been confusing for years. We have a Rogersville address, our landline's Surgoinsville, school zone is Surgoinsville, and our mail gets messed up half the time because people think we live in Surgoinsville. We vote in Surgoinsville, and everything down to the Big Creek Bridge is that way. So it has been very confusing for years. There's a lot of people in my area that are 37857.
Right, absolutely. There's been a lot of problems. We could talk all evening. In fact, James could tell you, we had a felon who came here from another state, and they were notified at Rogersville that person was in Surgoinsville. Oh no, I'm sorry. It was at the Rogersville zip code. The people that came here to apprehend that person, as best I can remember, left or started to leave. Is that not right, James? Thinking they looked everywhere, all over Rogersville. And he was in
Stewart Lane.
Stewart Lane. So there's been all kinds of problems. So, there, I'll go right ahead and explain that.
Well, first of all, thank you for your invitation, and thanks to each one of you for the work you do. And let me commend you that this is exactly what you need, is communication. And it seems to me that you're getting out ahead of this, and it's an unfortunate situation. I can't answer to the EMS or any of those issues. I can tell you that we have been pleading your case with the United States Postal Service for several years. Tracy in our office is assigned to the Postal Service casework, and she has been on this for 3 or 4 years. I know this may come as a shock to many, but the Postal Service is, like many federal agencies, challenging to deal with, and many of them are that way. It doesn't matter if it's the IRS or the Postal Service or other agencies. So it is challenging, but I do want you to know that we have put some due diligence in it. The fact, Mayor, that you know her on a first name basis speaks well that you have stayed in constant communication, and I think you probably got copies of letters that she has submitted on this town's behalf. Unfortunately, there are times I was just hearing all this made me think back to the time I was president of Chamber of Commerce for 10 years, and we had a similar situation. The chamber was located, had a Jefferson City address, and we were all the way in Danridge on the interstate. And then there were people down the road that they lived in Danridge and had to go vote in Jefferson City. So I'm kind of having a horror story memory just like that. And the Postal Service was really, really challenging. I do want to convey that we will keep digging and we will keep trying. I'm wondering also, maybe is it possible, if you have a GIS system or something, is there any way that they could pinpoint that and find out exactly how many calls went to folks in your service area, not just going by the zip code, but also going by the physical address? Because now, with today's technology, you can pinpoint that if you have a GIS system. And maybe one of the utilities has that, or as a possible solution. But I do want to convey to you that we will keep working on your zip code issue, and I unfortunately, it's always problematic when we can't report that we've got positive results that we want. But I will pledge to you our due diligence to keep working on this matter for you, and we will try to help, because it's obvious that this is an issue that's been long-standing, and I wish we could get the Postal Service to see it our way, so, or your way in this case.
Absolutely. Well, listen, we appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. How much does the county give EMS each year?
60,000, I think, this year was.
60. Part of that's going for citizens' tax money too, right?
I'm sure.
May I speak on
Absolutely.
That article that was posted in the paper, some of the information is very inaccurate. And with that being said, my chairman of the board went to 911 and pulled for the last 6 months the calls that were dispatched to the Surgoinsville station. Okay? And over the last 6 months, the actual call volume that was dispatched to the Surgoinsville station was only 243 calls. I think that's kind of like what you was talking about, being able to pinpoint the actual call volume for the station itself.
A couple years ago, Jason, just like I said up here at Bone Oak, 2 miles up the road.
Okay.
They sent a Rogersville EMS up there instead of Surgoinsville. Why?
When was this? Do you know?
Well, it's been a while back, but it's still the same thing.
Was it before Churchill EMS shut down?
No, no.
Yeah. Yeah, it had to be.
Yeah.
Before Churchill shut down.
Oh, this guy was on the ground up there, that they sent Rogersville up there.
I know.
What I'm
But
getting at is,
Churchill wasn't in business then, you know, they shut down right after my wife passed away.
August of 2016,
Yeah.
So to answer that question, just because there's an ambulance station here does not mean it's here all the time. So if it's going on a call, there's another ambulance coming from another station that's going to respond to the call that's in
We
this area.
understand that.
Yes, we do understand that, and that plays right along with this. If the ambulance at Fudge's Chapel's gone, this ambulance would go up there, or at least cover those calls.
Yeah, we post trucks.
Okay. Where did this information come from about this? It says here it's 37873 calls. Is that from a computer?
When I pull my computer on the actual trip tickets that are done with the 37873 zip code, it comes up to 283 calls over the last 6 months. Now, the calls that were dispatched to the Surgoinsville station was 243. If you'd like this, I can give it to you. I can get another copy if I need it, but if you'd like it.
Well, I don't.
In other words, what you're saying, your EMS is not gonna help us, is that what you're saying?
I'm not saying that we're not gonna help you. I talked with Mr. Mayor Graham, Tuesday or Wednesday.
think was Wednesday.
Wednesday, okay. I told him that we could staff what is called a day truck in Surgoinsville. And I asked at that time if we could use this station, continue to use this station for that ambulance. And his response was that he didn't know if that would work, that he would have to let me know something back. So I was assuming that he'd have to bring it before, the BMA before he could let me know.
Well, it's that, what we need to consider, what's going on. I can't believe, living here, that there was only 283 calls from this station, for this station to respond to. I'm sorry, I can't believe it. And it's, the article in the paper says for 37873, there's a lot of territory that's not 37873, it's what I just explained to everybody.
Right, I understand that. And that's the reason why we went to 911 and asked for that report right there, that station.
That's for 37873 though, isn't it?
No, that's for this station, the zone for this ambulance that we stationed.
And that was for a 6-month shift.
That was for the last 6 months, yes.
Well, I still don't agree. I can't remember a time being here that we didn't hear those sirens go out. I'm sorry, I don't know where you can get any more, or where we can get any more information, but I can't buy that. I can't buy it. This is too busy a place here. And again, all we wanna do is, we'd like our EMS service back, and apparently EMS is in sound condition, I guess.
Yes, we are. And what was explained, or tried to be explained, was if we continue to operate a 6th ambulance, 24 hours a day, for the month of March, it would cost us an additional $30,000 for the month of March over our normal expenditures and payroll to staff that truck, because it would be complete overtime. 2 people each shift, which is 3 shifts, that's 6 people of overtime.
Okay, again, you're laying all that on Surgoinsville.
I'm laying it based on the call volume of every
No.
location.
You've got the entire county that you need to spread that cost out around, it looks to me like.
I understand, that's what I'm saying. I
All
have,
your
I have the whole
overtime-
county to look
your
at, and I
overtime
base
costs would be
the stations where the
$30,000.
call volume is.
Well, I appreciate you coming up here, again, I feel like the town needs the EMS back. I don't know what your all's plans are, I don't have any idea.
What y'all contract that?
It's contracted with the county.
Yeah.
They are opening the, applications March 27th, is that correct? March 27th.
Sounds good, maybe we can get somebody else.
There are a couple other points that I wanna make sure that we
Okay,
understand.
that's
It was noted in that news article that we left in the middle of the night. That is untrue. That ambulance was in service until March the 3rd at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Well, why wasn't somebody notified that it was gonna be taken out?
Now I will take full blame for that and responsibility. I dropped the ball on notifying Mayor Grant.
Well, that's not legitimate.
That's not business.
No,
Yeah, we didn't see anybody leaving, we wouldn't know, so as far as we was concerned, you left in the middle of the night, so I don't know.
And our workers is out there at 8 o'clock in the morning.
That's on Sunday, March 3rd.
Oh, what?
And, yeah, that's getting March 3rd, that's on Sunday morning.
And, like I'd already discussed, was, we did meet with the chairman of the public safety and notified him. And then he advised us to notify the county mayor, which we did. And another part in that news article stated that there was 10 to 12 ambulances, when Churchill EMS shut down in this county. That is inaccurate as well. When Churchill EMS shut their doors, there was 7 ambulances in this county.
You mean remaining after they closed?
No. Well, yeah, I'm sorry, yes. And there was 7 in this county when Churchill closed. There was 4 there was 1 in Rogersville, although there was actually 2 in Rogersville at that time because our, transfer,
Well,
call volume was very high.
I won't say something.
Okay.
You know, when, Bulls Gap got complained, you guys jumped through hoops to put an ambulance over there, and I said, what's the difference?
We don't have an ambulance in Bulls Gap.
You got one there at Cherokee.
It's further down now, but
Yeah.
it's the call volume.
I don't agree with your call volume, you can say what you want to, but I don't agree.
Okay.
We got this too big an area up here with these ambulances, like Mayor, around said, we got too big an area for the EMS cover for just 283 calls. I'm the mayor on that 100%, I do not believe it.
Yeah, I can understand, Jason.
And you can be right here in this office, and you're that siren going out, you're 4 or 5 times a day.
But that could be covering another zone.
But they still use the fitness service. That's what I'm
I
saying.
understand that, but
Yeah.
I can't predict call volume. is
Where
what
does
I'm
the
saying.
zone start and end? Does anybody know that?
Well, since the closure, we've had to redo the zones for the Churchill station and the Rogersville station. We're finalizing those.
Before this
Before this,
is left. Where
Okay.
is it? Is it Surgoinsville Market? What zone's that in?
so going, the one on 11W, or
Yeah, down here on 11.
at the cemetery, that would have been Surgoinsville station.
What about the store over in Stanley Valley?
Stanley Valley Market.
Market.
That would have been Surgoinsville. That's how it was dispatched by 911.
What about La Polish Greenhouse?
I'm not familiar with what address that would be,
That's up Stanley Valley.
how far up.
Quite a bit.
Quite a bit, then that'd probably be Churchill.
But you're just contradicting yourself in the way I'm getting it, I don't know. But you say these calls, and the mayor asked you, who covers these places, and you say Surgoinsville there. That call should have been in here too.
What car are you talking about?
The calls, it should have been in here too. The call.
Because they pulled to another zone to run the call, is that what you're
So
saying?
you're stating in here, Jason, that it's just, this covers the 38373 zone.
That's when I pulled my report from my computer of the trip tickets that are done.
You don't say something?
Yeah, I'm Commissioner Fields, 4th District. Jason, I may have misunderstood what you said, and you may have answered it already. Going back to what Mayor Graham had asked, you know, there's so many calls, the number you throwed out was the district, the zip code for Surgoinsville. But like right outside that zip code, as they were talking, like Stewart Landings is Rogersville zip code or something, those calls are still Surgoinsville, right?
That is a Surgoinsville.
So
station.
did they dispatch you?
It's not true.
Okay, well that's the reason I was afraid I misunderstood. Did those dispatch to Surgoinsville calls too?
The 911 calls dispatched to the Surgoinsville station was 243 for the last 6 months.
So that's like, even if it's Rogersville zip code, it's in that number.
Yes, in the
So
243.
Okay, so everything, no matter if it's Rogersville zip code or Surgoinsville, that 243, it's in there.
That's when they set our tone off. They say station 2, station 3, station 4. This was station 4.
Okay.
And
So
that's
it doesn't just have to be a Surgoinsville zip code to get Surgoinsville EMS.
No.
So 243 is everything that these guys would say that if you're a Surgoinsville resident, your kid goes to Surgoinsville, or you would call yourself a Surgoinsville person, it don't matter if you're 37857 or whatever the other zip was up here, you guys still hit that in the 243. That was all it is.
Yes.
I have a
Okay,
question.
Jason, I'm sorry, there's someone.
Yeah.
How long do you think that you all have known that you're gonna be reducing by one truck?
It was discussed, the possibility, about the last week of February.
So, that quickly you decided to take one away?
Well,
So there was no really long-term
due to the
plan?
fact that we lost 6 employees, we've lost 6. We have a complete truck on every shift that is unmanned, okay? So, like I was saying, if we staff that 6th truck, it's completely with all overtime, the paramedic and the EMT on that truck, which would cost $30,000 additional dollars to staff that truck.
So now that we're down, there were 6, now that there are 5, where are they stationed?
The 5, one is at Lakeview Fire Department, near the drag strip down there, I don't know if you're familiar. Beside Persia Baptist Church, one there in Rogersville at the squad building, Churchill Fire Station number 2 at Fudge's Chapel, and then beside Mount Carmel Fire Department on Hammond Avenue.
Okay.
If you've got the one at Persia, and then you've got the one in Rogersville, and then you've got this wide area, and then you've got the at Fudge's Chapel and then on up at Hammond Avenue, could you not scoot something back a little bit? Because it looks like that Persia and Rogersville are awfully close together. And it looks like Hammond Avenue is super close to the Sullivan County line. So if possibly we could reposition these places, we might be able to cover the county a little bit better with the just 5 service areas. Do you see what I'm saying?
I understand, I do understand what you're saying, but we have to be able to have stations too.
Right, well,
Yeah.
of course, you would have the
Yeah.
Surgoinsville
Right.
station if you did away with, say, Fudge's Chapel. Could you find a place maybe in Churchill where the old Churchill used to be and position that one there, and then let Mount Carmel sort of be covered by, aren't they covered a lot by Sullivan County since part of Mount Carmel is in Kingsport?
Kingsport City is covered by Sullivan County EMS. Kingsport City comes down to the Mount Carmel city limit. We cover all of Mount Carmel City.
But they keep someone on staff anyway, right? Mount Carmel has their own EMS person on staff that
I'm
runs
aware.
the fire calls. That. there's
There
some-
was talk about it, but I don't know for sure that they have medically trained staff on hand.
What does Jason do for them?
Fire and EMS.
Fire and EMS for the city of Mount Carmel. So he runs,
He did today,
so he
So he
runs
does
emergency calls
EMS.
for Mount Carmel. So we're kinda double dipping up there if they're already paying somebody from the
They
city.
can't transport, can they transport?
He's a EMT.
Does he transport patients to the hospital?
Yeah.
He does?
Yes.
Okay, then I will find out. first
Because
thing
if
in the
you
morning.
move that down to Churchill,
I don't know that they have an
He works at Host and Fence, so he's got the,
Okay,
And I know
Because-
he's part-time for Mount Carmel, but there's someone there all the time, I just happen to,
Yeah.
but,
if they're transporting patients inside Hawkins County, they will be fined by the county rules and regulations, because do they have a permit to operate in Hawkins County?
This first time hearing about it, I didn't know anything about it.
That's first time.
and then, another, why is the, I guess, with Fudge's Chapel not really far up the road, why was Surgoinsville not a more attractive location, because it's free?
That was a board decision based off call volume.
And you've got all this industry around Surgoinsville.
I understand.
and you've got 11W with all of these intersections, and there's been a lot of really bad accidents, like down at Zines Hill Road,
you
and,
got an industrial park up here.
yeah. It just seems like Surgoinsville, you've got the schools, say that something happens, like a school bus accident or something like that. So now, Carter's Valley Loop, are we considered Surgoinsville
You're talking about by zip code or by the station?
by the
But-
station?
By the station.
I know we're not by
Okay,
zip
Carter
code.
Valley Loop is, yes.
Okay, because
Considered
I
a
mean, we're
small station.
Surgoinsville in every other aspect.
Yes.
Okay. That was just my thought. I thought about this and I was like, Hannah, looks like there's a way we could scoot things around a little bit and better service. And since that you're already getting everything free here in Surgoinsville, maybe you could find something in Churchill that was equally as well. I mean, I think maybe a city would do something for you if they knew that you were gonna put your station in their city.
That's why we have it at the fire department area, because Churchill allowed us to stay there. We was in the old Churchill EMS building that they had when Churchill EMS shut down. We attempted to purchase that building. They would not allow us to purchase that building. Then they wanted $100,000+ to purchase that station. Churchill City offered for us to stay in their fire station. That's how that,
So that's why they're at Fudge's Chapel.
Yes.
Do you happen to know how many calls were run out of the Fudge's Chapel station in the last 6 months?
I do not have those numbers with me, I don't, but I do know what the 37642 area code, which is Churchill, was 786.
Right, but Fudge's, I mean, where I live probably would be equally distant. I think Fudge's Chapel could get to me pretty much at the same time downtown Surgoinsville could, where I live. So that's why I'm curious if, and so if I call in and I just give an address for 911, they just take my address and then that's how they reach.
Which station? And
So-
at that station, oh, sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry, it's just, and I'm certainly not accusing, I just have to ask, is it possible, knowing that maybe, that there was gonna need to be some cost reduction, that maybe some calls were deliberately put onto another station that could have come out of.
I can't answer that for 911. Is that what you're referring to? Is it 911 deliberately put them on another station?
I'm gonna say no to that. I'm the chairman of 911 and I'm about 100% sure, no, that's not possible.
So it's just, if I give them an address, it's whatever zone I happen to be in is who's dispatched for me, unless, of course, they're on another call.
Yes.
Well, I know my brother's wife had a stroke, and he had requested Surgoinsville be used if they wanted to send Marshall up here, and he requested Surgoinsville. He said a half a mile from where I live, said just send Surgoinsville. They was gonna send Marshall. I know that for a fact.
What's the percentage of stop calls, Jason? Was that, in other words, the non-emergency calls? Is that included in any of his stats? I'm sure
Yes.
this unit probably had some of those.
Yes, non-emergency and emergency calls, that's what's included in that.
Got somebody back there.
Go ahead, sorry, go right ahead.
Yes, sir. I'm County Commissioner from Second District of Churchill. But my question would be, when 911 gets an emergency call, do you know, Jason, if 911 dispatches the closest available ambulance? Or do they dispatch it according to, is it somebody having a heart attack gets an advanced life support ambulance versus if somebody's got a, let's say a broken leg, they would dispatch a basic life support ambulance? Do you know if there's a distinction between?
I can tell you that with the 5 24-hour trucks that we have are advanced life support. The 6 that we had were advanced life support. As I was explaining to the mayor, that day truck is possible that it could be a BLSU.
On that
But
day
as
truck,
far as dispatching, I can't answer those questions. I can't.
on that day truck you talk about, you're up here 8 to 12 hours. What about the other 12 hours of the nighttime? People need one.
That's what I'm offering is I can do that for you.
In other words, we're gonna have half service.
That's how you want to look at
It
it.
looked like it, 12 and 12, 24, so if you're just gonna put one up here probably 12, you 12 hours, you ain't got nothing.
When Churchill went out, we were contacted by Mr. Elam. Is he still with us?
He still is a paramedic supervisor, yes.
Yeah, we signed an agreement with him. I think.
Do you have, because I've asked and my understanding there was no signed agreement. If you have a copy,
We're trying to find it.
okay.
Anybody else got anything?
Let's move on, bro.
Jason, I appreciate you coming out, and I'm sorry, it's just, that's the way we feel.
I understand.
We feel like we need the rest of the EMS back.
Thank y'all for your time.
Thank you. Any more comments, questions about EMS? I appreciate everybody coming, and, I don't know what to say. I can just go by what I see and hear, and I know the rescue squad is busy here. In fact, I've often thought that it was super busy, and I cannot buy these figures. I don't know where they come from, but I think in the people that's here that are commissioners and citizens, whatever, but I think, everybody needs to look at the situation and consider what we discussed today and hopefully get the EMS back up here. I don't think it's right to lay the total cost of overtime for the county on Surgoinsville. I don't understand that. That's not right. And again, I appreciate everybody coming. Maybe something will be worked out. And again, we don't need to be hostile. We're just going by what we see, Jason. And so we will continue. Darrell, I appreciate you coming by. That's a serious issue. Zip codes. And it's probably not, like you said, not just Surgoinsville, but other places.
It's gonna affect your census too, I presume,
Absolutely.
coming up in the future, which affects your funding.
Absolutely, I'm sure, I don't know.
Well, the crazy thing about it, Rogersville zip code goes from almost the Granger County line to the Sullivan County line. People don't realize that. If you go up Grassy Creek, that's a Rogersville address.
Red Hill, that's right.
I know.
And I don't know, Joe, I don't know, I imagine somewhere along the line, we're probably losing money with, Rogersville zip code being in our town, are we not, or have?
If the census counts, residents as being in Rogersville, then any per capita, payments that are made by the state and the federal government would go to Rogersville.
Is there any way legally we could approach Postal Service? Like a lawsuit to change this?
Well, I mean, the postal service, would have to be dealt with, through the political process. You know, the town did all that it could, it produced, in fact, a, proposed map, that went down Big Creek, which was, actually driven by people to make sure that it didn't overlap the route out of Rogersville, which is why they followed Big Creek. So you wouldn't have the situation the Vice Mayor was talking about, where you have folks on one side of the street having one route, and on the other side of the street, second route. The town did everything it could.
Okay. Well, we will continue on with our meeting, and you're welcome to stay, and again, I appreciate everyone, and, we'll see what happens. Okay. Okay, we'll move on to our reports. James, you got a report?
February, we had 135 complaints, 6 incidents, 2 traffic accidents, 5 offense reports, 31 citations, 2 arrests, and we lost 2,088 miles.
I do want to commend James for his work. We had an armed robbery in our town, and James worked very diligently, very quick, and apprehended a subject in that case. And we commend you, James, for your work. Very good. Eddie, your report?
Yes, sir. Started out for code enforcement activity report for February this year. We had 14 animal complaints, 9 animal incidents, disposed of 6 dead animals, 11 other code complaints, mostly related to stormwater issues, as you can imagine that.
Yeah.
Other code incidents 16, and I issued 1 warning notice for a lady throwing her leaves in the roadway. Our maintenance department report for the same period, we collected 55.79 tons of residential garbage, 6.11 tons of commercial, 30.83 tons of brush, that's a lot of brush, 1.97 tons of leaves. From now on, we're going to have to estimate our recycled materials due to the Tri-City Waste Paper being out of business. Hawkins County Recycle down at Lakeview is going to take our materials, but they don't have any way to weigh it. But in the past, our containers have run, for instance, plastic is always around 360 to 420 pounds of plastic. So,
Can you wait down at that, convenience place and pick up scale down
we're taking it now?
there? Yeah.
Not according to the director that I talked to. Now, I understand they bale and process their material and then weigh. So
somehow, I don't know how. But at Tri-City Waste Paper, we had a drive on the scale that weighed the truck, trailer and all, and emptied and weighed. But the only reason I'm estimating this, I feel like it, one of these days this recycled material, or the sheer amount of recycled material is gonna be important to the town for various programs in the future, if the recycle program continues. I think there may be even some issues with the demand for recycled materials, the market slumping and all that stuff, and we may see a time that,
Well, I seen where China was refusing to take paper or plastic, either one, so.
well, it's just become less cost attractive for companies to process and sell it, you know? They're not making any money and they're may not fool with it, so we'll just have to wait and see. We collected 6.17 tons in the dump trailers. As far as street repair, we've been bombarded with stormwater. Again, as you can imagine, we've ditches and tiles, trying to keep the water where it's supposed to go. And we've done a pretty good job at fighting that battle, but we're not gaining any ground much. We've used 12.92 tons of rock. We laid 4.11 tons of asphalt on K Street, 2.06 tons of asphalt at River Road. Flushed a lot of drains, various locations, especially on River Road at the tunnel entrance. Done some pothole patching on Zion Hill, Thurman Road, and Stewart Landings. Again, we had lots of stormwater issues at several locations all over town. Clogged tiles kept us busy doing the debris removal from the creek tiles. Seemed like it was just every other day that we had to do that. We've done a lot of ditching with our brush truck, got along pretty good with this soft ground in the ditches to take the phlegm, and works pretty good as long as the ground's soft. That's about it.
Eddie, you and your employees done a good job too during this water problem. There's a lot of drains to be unclogged, and
lots of work to be done.
A lot of the town employees did well. They worked some overtime hours and did correctly a lot of problems, a lot of issues we had during this water.
I don't think it's been unique to Surgoinsville. I think
Oh, no.
all over Hawkins County, you know.
No, in fact,
And we've actually fared pretty good
Probably did.
compared to other locations.
Yeah. Okay, okay, we'll go to unfinished business, which is, resolving the issue with Ron and Melton, the cost of the Johnson Estate Sewer Project. As you all know, seems like every day an email would come in and the numbers would change. In fact, I think I reported to you all last that in addition to the $10,937 that we would pay, there was 4,000 and something added, and I think maybe for engineering costs. But that has been reduced now to $732.91. And to finish the project, get it out of the way, the board needs to,
This is final, right?
This is
What you
final.
tell-
This is final.
You would put that on here, final.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I make a motion, we pay this to get rid of it. That's the final money.
I'll second that. Got a second? Matt, second. Okay, roll call vote on
May I say one thing?
it. Oh, yes.
And to authorize the mayor to execute a settlement agreement.
This year, that's right, it's motion or?
Right, what I would ask is that you amend your motion to also authorize the mayor to execute a settlement agreement.
Oh, okay. You get that?
Yeah.
You hear what I say?
I heard what Joe said.
That's what the alderman said.
That's what I said.
Okay.
Roll call vote.
Alright. Vice Mayor Jernigan,
Aye.
Alderman Byington. Alderman Savage.
Yes.
Mayor Graham.
Yes.
Alderman Summers.
Yes.
Alderman Bass.
Yes.
Okay, that is passed, so the only other thing on here is the Hawkins County EMS issue, which we just discussed. Does anybody else have anything else under community interest, council request, or anything? Come before the board.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Hey.
Stand up.
All right, you agree to stand up, and I appreciate everybody coming.